Hello, Barbara Nicolato, Nick Snacks, here with a tutorial to show you how to make a flip-top card box with a magnetic closure. This box can hold between 6 to 10 small note cards with envelopes. The design on the box will be your own creation. A lot of us have been using ATCs, Artist Trading Cards, which are 2.5 by 3.5 inches in size. And we've been using these to create scenes, designs, and trade them with friends. So I created a set of 6 of ATCs and decided to put a little black mat around them and then affix them to a note card, which in the US we refer to it as a 4-bar size. It's actually 3 7/16 of an inch by 4 7/8 of an inch. So I made this set for a friend of mine and then decided that perhaps it would be nice to make a box to gift them in. And so I made this cute little box. It has a magnet in it, and these fit nicely inside for gifting. You can decorate it in so many ways, depending on if you have a theme or what you want to do or for who it's for. So I thought it would be fun to show you how to make this small box. And that's what I'll be doing in this tutorial. As far as supplies go, you're going to be needing a sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. This is 110 pound by Nina. It's called Classic Crest Solar White, and it is of substantial weight. You're also going to need scissors, an adhesive, a scoreboard, and a bone folder for burnishing the edges of the folds and for scoring. So before we score, let me show you how we're going to do it. First thing you're going to do is take that sheet, 8.5 by 11, and you're going to score it along the 8.5 inch side at 5/8 of an inch, 1 5/8 of an inch, 6 7/8 of an inch, and 7 7/8 of an inch. And you're going to score all the way down. Once you've done that, you're going to turn it along the 11 inch side. You're going to score at 2 5/8, 3 5/8, 7 3/8, and 8 3/8. Once you've scored your cardstock, you're going to come down on this first score line. You're going to measure down 1 inch to there. And you're going to make a line from that 1 inch mark all the way to the top of the score line. You're going to do the same on this side. On the 7 7/8 inch score line, you're going to measure down 1 inch, make a dot, and then you're going to make a line from this dot all the way to the top of the 6 7/8 inch score line. You're going to come down to to the second horizontal score line, and on the edge of the paper, you're going to measure down 5/8 of an inch and make a dot. And then you're going to make a line from the dot right up to this point. On the same, you're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. From the second horizontal score line, you're going to measure down 5/8 of an inch and make a dot. And then you're going to make a line from that dot all the way to this intersection here. All right, now it's time to look at what pieces we're going to be cutting off. Everything that I've marked in yellow, this little triangle here we formed, this rectangle, this triangle, you're going to leave this intact. And then again, you're going to cut off these 2 pieces in yellow. The same thing on the left side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 pieces will be cut off completely. Then we're going to be cutting from here up to here and here up to here. But when we cut, we're going to make this into a tab. So we're going to cut little notches. I've marked with little check marks the pieces I'm going to cut off. I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. I think it's important that I show you that when I cut along a score line, you see this mountain here, this ridge that's formed. If I'm going to cut this piece off, I want to cut to the left of the score line so that this ridge is also cut off. Like so. And that leaves a nice clean edge here. There we go. Now, cutting these little notches. I'm going to cut to the left of that little score line. Then I'm going to come in about 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch, a small bit. And I'm going to cut that little piece off. And I'll do the same on this one. And then I'm going to do the same on all 4. All right, I'll be right back as soon as I've done that. This is what the bare bones of my box looks like now that it's all cut out. And I'm going to make sure that I have scored, but I'm going to make sure that I burnish all the score lines. Okay, so let's look at where we cut this notch off the box. That is eventually going to fold to be the top of the box, but it's not going to fold in the manner that you would assume. So there's a little trick to it, so try not to go ahead. So If you decide that you want to do a scene on the front or on the back, what you should do is take a pencil and lightly mark the top of your canvas. We can erase that later. And the top, and this would be the bottom, and this is the bottom of this hinge, and this is the top. So when you open it, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, and the bottom of the back. So you can go ahead and design a scene accordingly. And then you may want to take some type of blender brush and lightly ink the edges so that when they fold over, it'll all have a nice and finished look. The magnets that I'm going to use for this project are very strong magnets. I buy them in a bundle because I use them for so many projects. But they're neodymium magnets, also known as rare earth magnets. And these are pretty small. They're about 1 millimeter in height and 6 millimeters across. In the measurements we use in the U.S., it would be about 1/16 of an inch by 1/4 of an inch. And I get them on a website called kjmagnetics.com. They have these, which are less expensive, which they do not have an adhesive on them. Or you can get the ones with an adhesive. This is a SKU D41AD-P. And they're pretty strong. And I know that's because there's a whole lot of them all together. But if I take these two off and put them there, and there we go. So yes, they're very powerful magnets. So what I ended up doing with my box is using a stencil, and this is called Feather Leaf by Lavinia. And I've used a couple of different colors of oxide inks. Basically, it's bundled sage. This is squeezed lemonade. And this is tumbled glass. So I sort of finished all the edges also. And then, instead of doing an image right on the box, I did one separate from the box, 3.5 by 5 inches. And I'm going to affix it to my box. When I turn the box over, I find the midway between here and here, which is 2 5/8 of an inch midway. And then I came down 3/8 of an inch and made a little dot. That's where one of the magnets is going to go. I'm not going to pull them apart yet because I want to make sure that I glue them on properly. If you put them on the other way, they will repel rather than attract each other. So right now, both together, that's where my magnets are going to be. I'm going to make a little dot on this one so that I know later that I will not put glue on the side of the magnet that I marked with my little Sharpie. And the other thing that I want to do here, so that when I open it, I just don't see a magnet, is I'm going to take a piece of, whoops, I'm going to take a piece of washi tape, if I can get this to not tear on me. I'm going to save these pieces of washi that tear, perhaps to hold my dies when I'm cutting so that I don't waste it. If anybody knows a trick of how to get that washing tape from not tearing when you don't want it to tear, I'd be happy to hear about it. My next step will be to apply glue to the tabs and fold them up. I'll hold them there a while to make sure that they glue in place. Now, I have to be careful when I put the glue on this because I don't want it to go all the way up. This spot here is going to be showing. So I'm going to make a little mark here. And the same thing on this side. And this way, when I put the glue on, I know not to go above that line. When this part of the box is firmly glued into place, I can go ahead and erase the pencil marks that I previously made. Now it's time to place the magnet on the inside part of the box, remembering that the part that I marked with the Sharpie will not have the glue. But it's always good to try the placement to make sure you've got it right before you go ahead and glue. So what I actually allowed was the magnet on the top here to actually help move this magnet on the inside and place it where it's supposed to go. Lastly, we're going to glue the tabs to the top flap of the box. So I'm going to apply the adhesive and then bring the flap down and hold them together a little until they're affixed to each other. When you're finished, make sure you erase any pencil guide marks you made on the box. So, this is my finished box. It's of substantial weight, it snaps closed, and perfectly fits my note cards. What a great idea for a gift. If I've inspired you to make this box, I'd love for you to post it in one of our Facebook groups listed at the end of this video. And don't forget to tag me so I'll be sure to see it. Thanks a lot and have a happy day crafting.